Welcome back to part 2 of Facilitation Fridays, and I'm talking about the Rhythmic Acuity measurement scale. If you have not watched part 1, please do. It'll make a lot more sense. But just suffice to say, this is a tool, a professional development tool that I co-developed with my colleague Bill Matney. And even though we developed it for music therapists, I wanted to share it with you all because this stuff is universal to all musicians. And as a drummer, percussionist, and potential facilitator, and we all are potential facilitators, whether we're facilitating a performance or a jam session or a lesson or a class or a recreational experience, we need those skills and we need them for life. This is not just about music, right? You guys know that. I've been getting some great comments, by the way, from a lot of you around the world, and a lot of you all are very wise and experienced people, and I want to thank you for that. And thanks for participating in the discussion down below in a way that's meaningful. And there's a lot of people who like to just leave snarky comments, including me, on certain videos. But let's use this tool as much as we can to get as much good out of it as we can. So thank you for doing that, and thanks for your supportive comments as well. So we're going to continue talking about the scale, the Rhythmic Acuity measurement scale. This is part 2. Watch part 1 if you haven't. The next category after resiliency is frequency. And frequency means just your ability to play a role, basically. How fast can you play? And this isn't about becoming the world's fastest drummer. I leave that up to other people. But we do want to develop a certain amount of relaxed fluidity in our playing so we can play rhythms accurately, so we can play rhythms for as long as we want and have them feel the way we want them to feel. And that gets also into micro timing and things that are important for certain genres of music to faithfully reproduce those. But as far as your own self-evaluation or the way you can test yourself, just put a metronome on. This is 100 beats a minute, and you can do something like I did at the opening. Relax and play subdivisions, and just keep going. Woo! Barely made it. Squeeze all those notes in there. Okay, so find out where you can comfortably do a roll for about 30 seconds. And I'm just doing a little finger roll here, but if that was full hand and arms, I don't know if I could have pulled that last one off. That was 30-second notes at 100 beats a minute. And again, this isn't about trying to play like the fastest person in the world. I really have no interest in that. But what I do want to do is to be able to have some comfort and some fluidity, some accuracy, and just be able to play the music that I want to play. So it's important to develop that. But the key is to play fast, you practice slow, right? And if you want to play loud, you need to practice softly and relaxed. So make sure your shoulders and arms and your wrists and fingers are just relaxed. Push yourself up to your comfort, or you're slightly getting uncomfortable or getting a little tense, and then slow down and practice for a long period of time like that. Do some rolls, just keep doing rolls with a metronome if you can, and build up, the rolling. All right, that'll help you be able to achieve your musical goals, but also rhythmic goals. Next category is a really fun one. That's called orientation. And orientation is, no, it's not the first day of school. It's how are we lining our rhythm pattern up with the musical phrase? And of course, most music is played in phrases in a meter, right? So 4/4, 3/4, 6/8, 12/8. We have a meter, and then we're playing patterns that are usually either half a bar, 1 bar, or whole meter, meter phrase, or 2, 2-bar phrases like clave. We also have notation in 2/2, so you can notate things differently, but The point is, we want to be oriented to the rhythmic cycle. So I'll give you an example. So if I play this metronome, and you can hear that there's a downbeat that's a little bit different, right, than the other beats. So the first beat has a little different tone to it. 1, right, a little higher. So if I play a pattern, one way I can practice my orientation is to start and stop my pattern at different points while the phrase is playing, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and see if I can come in and out and just stay oriented. All right, so I need to use my mind's ear a little bit. I need to use audiation, which is hearing the pattern in my mind, even though I'm not playing it. And this will help get away from just the physicality of playing a pattern or a rhythm into the musicality of playing it, because I know where I am in time, right? I understand what's happening over time, and I'm not losing my place. I'm not just starting the rhythm wherever. And those of you who have heard, maybe you've been in a group and somebody just starts playing a rhythm pattern on some random beat, like they start the cycle on beat 2 or 3 or 4 or something, and it's just mind-boggling. As a musician, we're really sensitive to that kind of thing. So we don't want to do that. We want to understand where the patterns fit in relationship to the cycle. So here's a way. I'm just going to try this right now. So we'll call this broken pattern. 3 and 4. Okay, something like that. And of course you can add variations and syncopate things and, mix it up a little bit. But that's the general idea. That's orientation. The next category is division. And yes, you didn't know we were going to be doing math. But don't worry, don't click away just yet. What we're talking about is, of course, subdividing the beat. Now, I already talked about this a few minutes ago in terms of, playing the roles and developing our frequency. But division gets into how do we subdivide the beats and the pulses and work with, work up to syncopation. So the first thing is, we know we can subdivide the beat in half, in thirds, and in quarters. So that sounds like this. Half, and 2, and 3, and thirds, and quarters, or in sixths. That's a lot of sibilants. So once you can do that, you want to be able to move fluidly between the subdivisions or between the subdivided beats. So mixing it up. Okay, so again, syncopating, leaving out some notes. All of the notes are implied, right? All of the subdivisions are always implied, but we're not always playing them all. So that would be kind of the third level. So first level, play the subdivisions. Second level, mix up the subdivisions, switching between them. Third level, leave out some notes. So you end up with what we call syncopated or offbeat notes, and you're not playing the downbeats and you're not playing the primary beats. And you're focusing more on the in-between notes. And you're even using some accents to bring out different notes. And there's lots of ways you can develop that and play around with that. But that is all about division. The final category, and thank you for hanging out this long in the lesson. I hope this is interesting to you. It's interesting to me because these are the kinds of things that I like to practice, actually, and that I find if I do these sorts of exercises and work on these drills, that it helps me in a lot of ways, not just, you know, technique-wise, but musicality and flexibility and all sorts of things. The last category is variation, and we're going to look at 3 subcategories of variation. So one is adding accents, and I just did that a little bit when we were looking at division, but adding accents, you can vary a pattern in a lot of ways. So again, going back to some basic pattern. If I use accents, I can change that up a lot. Okay, so just trying to focus on accents. And yes, sometimes I'm ghosting notes, so I'm almost leaving out some notes too. So you can think about accents. If your bass line, you know, is here, and you're gonna accent some notes, and you're gonna really drop some other notes way down, so they're almost inaudible. We call those ghost notes or touches. So that's what we're talking about, just working with the dynamics from your bass line up and down, okay? Second category in variation is going to be kind of a concept called, you can call it different things, but one of the things it's called is expansion or contraction, or augmentation or diminution. And what we mean by that is, let's say I have a pattern like this, 3 and 4. I can take the note values and I can double them, and that's going to give the feeling of slowing this down into a half time feel. I'll play the first one and then I'll slow it down. Now we can try to do it, I can try to double it. I don't know if I can double this one. I'll try. Apparently not. Okay. But you get the idea. So if you're playing doon doon da ga doon doon da ga, you can go doon doon da ga 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 doon doon da doon doon da doon doon da doon doon da. All right, so it's doubling or halving. So that would be augmentation, diminution. And then the third category of variation is ornamentation. And this isn't just for the holidays. Ornamentation is adding features, let's call them, musical features or figures. In drumming, we have things called rudiments. So you might know about flams. 2 notes very close together, kind of like a grace note. A ruff, which is 2 or 3 notes before the primary note. And then a roll. Different kinds of rolls. We have rolls of every length, and that would be more like a trill on another instrument. So we can incorporate some of those, and just to review, we've got accents, augmentation, diminution, and ornamentation. So if I take a simple pattern and then I apply variations, I can go a lot of different places with a rhythm pattern. Okay, so I'm just messing around, playing very softly here so I don't blow the mic out. But I hope that gives you an idea, and I hope that makes sense. So now we've covered from part 1 to part 2, we've covered 8 categories in the Rhythmic Acuity Measurement Scale, or RAMS. Are you feeling the power? I hope you are feeling empowered, not to use an overused word, but let me know what you guys think. Is this useful? Are you practicing? Are you using your metronome? And if you're not, why not? Who's stopping you? Okay, I want to know what you think. Again, thank you for your supportive comments. Thank you, those of you who are taking our global drumming community development seriously and leaving some really helpful comments below. I think that's what this is all about. That's why we're doing this, why I'm doing it. And I just wish you all the best in your rhythmic pursuits. And you can always, find me on Facebook and other social media. By the way, we also have swag now. So I'll leave a couple links down, but we've got some World Drum Club designed apparel. So check that out and enjoy. I'll see you all in a future lesson.